Hello everyone. Today we are looking at a record collection that I purchased from a garage sale. It was actually an estate sale, and they had all of these 33s and 1/3s, and then they had all these 45s, and then they had a Zenith console with a record player, a television, and then a radio. And it looked like it had options for, to add something else. So I ended up getting all of these records for $10. And I'm gonna go through them. We're gonna see here what we got. First of all, I'm gonna go through the singles. From what I was able to see on the other ones, it looks like they were country music, mostly country. And don't worry about cringing of, me touching the record grooves and leaving them sit like this on the ground, because I'm going to clean them all. I got to clean them all yet. And so it looks like this one is GNP Crisanto Records. GNPS 439. So, I don't know who the Rangers, Waltz, and Dad's. I don't know what that group is. I don't know. We'll just set that aside over here. And this looks like an RCA. I'd say 60s or 70s. I'd say Charlie Pride. Let Me Live. And that looks like that's on, I'm going to say probably the A side. And then the B side has Do You Think to Pray? So maybe these are religious. I don't know. I'd say, as you can see here, there's some like white stuff on there. I don't know what that is. I had a few other records that had that, and I just threw them away. I didn't even know what that was. I'm just gonna toss this because of that reason. I don't know what that is. That could be mold for all I know. And looks like we have another. This is a 78. I didn't know there were any 78s in here. I forgot to mention that sometimes 78s come in this size. I've seen a couple. Oh, Susanna, it looks like it says. Peter Pan was a record label that put out children's records. I don't know if this one's any good anymore or not. You can see the scratches there are pretty rough there on camera, but you don't know, because I have another record. It's a much bigger than that, and it's got some pretty bad scratches on there, and it's pretty worse than that, but it plays wonderfully. Now if you look, Puff the Magic Dragon, this has got to be old Golden Records. This has got to be an antique by now. You can see there by when I was shivering it back and forth, looks like there's something on it. That could just be a really bad scratch. Let's see what the other size has. The Reluctant Dragon. Looks like, so this one right here might be another one to throw away, because look how bad that scratch is on there. And that's pretty bad. I don't know. The other ones look like they were in better shape. Oh, this one right here is definitely for sure did near being thrown away. This one's in pretty good shape. It's pretty heavy too. Verde Records. John Lee Hooker, I believe that's a country artist. And Unfriendly Woman and You Can Lead Me, Baby. So, looks like we're going to be keeping that one, that's for sure. And then we have Music Core Records. I've never heard of this label. None of these, notice how none of these have dates on them. I'm going to have to use Discogs as a way to figure out how old they are. Looks like that one's in pretty nice shape. And Wand records. Looks like this one, Diplomats. I think that's the group. This could be from, I don't know, the 60s, the 50s, I'm assuming. The other ones, I've got no idea. This one looks more like probably 60s or 70s. Oh, Chess Records. This label doesn't exist anymore. I think MGM purchased them. Let's see what the group is. Radiance. I never heard of those. You can see here, it looks like this might have gotten heating up. I don't know if that's good or bad. I've never seen one like that before. Obviously, but it looks like it might still play. It looks like some of these records have some really bad damage done to them. Here's another chess one. Looks like this one has a date on the bottom, 1954. 54. Maurice and the Radians. Never heard of them. You notice how this label on both sides is in much better shape. They all need to be cleaned in dire situation to need to be cleaned. Here you go. I've heard of these before. This might have a date on it somewhere. No. I've seen these before. My grandmother had a bunch of these from the 80s and 90s, and actually no, the 80s and 70s. This might be garbage. The swing errors. I don't know how old this is. We'll probably put this over here with the, I got 3 piles here. Garbage, I don't know, and keep. So, for those that aren't wondering. And I'm trying my best not to touch the grooves, but you can only do so much. Cadence, Andy Williams, I believe. I recognize him. I recognize that name, so I think we'll put this here in the keep. Looks like it's in direly needs of being... Oh, Mercury. We've got one from the big labels. Diana Washington. What's a name from the past? She passed away. She wasn't that old when she died. I'm keeping that one for sure. I don't see any badly scratched marks or anywhere, so... pretty bad in shape. By Diana Washington, I think she passed away, what was that, 63? She died pretty young. Freddie and the Dreamers. So they might have some soul music in here. In these. So we got Phillips here. Phillips Records. Dusty Springfield. Sounds familiar. That name sounds familiar. I can't remember where I recognize that name from, but in case you aren't wondering, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons were originally signed to Phillips Records before deciding to go on a different label. I have some of their older stuff, but the writer, Frank Gosher, this is definitely for sure a 60s. These are all in really bad shape. They need to be cleaned. Here's another Phillips ones. Here, I was just talking about the Four Seasons. Here you go. I proved my point. They originally signed on to the Phillips Records. And as most people know this nowadays, Phillips doesn't really produce anything high quality. They haven't in years. Yeah, I don't think they even operate their record label anymore. I think it's mostly Universal. This one's got some white stuff on there. I don't know what that is. Looks like it came right off, but the other wouldn't come off, so I don't know what that is. I'll put that over there in the garbage, because I don't want to... I end up having to wash my hands. We got here Garnet Records. This one's a little bit better condition than the last one. You notice how the ones that are really bad shape are from RCA. This looks like it's a nice shape. Some of these labels I've got no idea I'd have to use. Oh, it says right here, unauthorized public performance of copying this record is prohibited, so this probably isn't a, what you call, probably a small pressing, I'd say. Probably rare Furry Records. Never heard of them before. Lee Dorsey. Keep in mind how most of these are 45s. They say 45 on them. Yeah. Never heard of that before. We'll have to research that and listen to that one. And I just noticed this one right here has what you call, it's got like probably mold growing on it. Probably garbage. It's probably so rare that, you know, they probably just kept it because it's so rare. Jan Davis. This one's in pretty good shape other than that white stuff that's on the other side. I don't know what that is. Put that in the garbage too. I'm not going to take any chances. Sweet. Jenny Lee. Promotional. Yes, I don't see anything wrong with this one. Keep that one, that's for sure. It's like they got some promotionals in here. Tower Records. Never heard of this label before either. It might be interesting. I might end up adding some of these to Discogs. Oh, here's a Mercury with the blue label. You got the diamonds on here. Now, that's rare. Looks like it's a nice shape too. It looks like it's been taken care of, it looks like. So there might be some rock and roll in here. Faber, never heard of that. Might be some rock and roll in here. Fraternity, I think that says. The Dolphins, never heard of them. These days, you never know. Looks like this one came from Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, so probably some rare small pressing labels. Yeah, so like that one's in good shape. That's a Mercury. Don't know much about that one other than it's. Usually when you see this label like this, sometimes they can make counterfeits because this press, from what I read online, is this particular label. This label with this is Mercury in this. And the one that they brought out, I think this might be a 50s or early 60s, but one of the presses that they did like that could be counterfeited. So I could be looking at a bunch of counterfeit Mercury records that I think I'm going to keep. Connie Francis, MGM Records. This is my first ever finding one of these. Usually the Mercury ones are hard to find. I mean the MGM ones are hard to find because MGM didn't press their own records anymore after, I think it was 69 or something like that. Motown, Laughing Boy, Mary Wells. Usually Motown's very good with writing their dates on these. They used to be in the 80s once they were. Don't see a date on that one. It's pretty clean, except for, and we have this one right here. Stephen Eddy, I think that's his. They were married for years. Looks like it's a nice shape. Probably just needs to be cleaned in there. Spin clean. Here's another Mercury. Looks like it's got a bunch of dust on it. Probably very dusty, but it says James Crawford. James Brown Productions. So the other Mercury one, I don't remember seeing anything like that on it. Federal. Freddie King. It's probably well known. I think I know. There might be something underneath there. Looks like they might have mold spores in this box. I ended up throwing it out. Here's another Mercury one. Patty Page. No, that's a name from the past. Don't see any reason not to keep some of these. Motion. Advanced copy. Looks like you're going to need an adapter. Or unless there's an adapter already built into it. Never seen a hole that big. Or something with this in the middle, so. This might be a promo. But it says, only true love can survive these times. That's the Billy Sales division of Kevin's Kosher something Associates. So don't know, it's a brand new term. Never heard of that. Probably in one that was produced just for that. Sing along with the J Nuts. And then here's the song, the J Nuts. Never heard of this label, never seen anything like that. Here's Decca. This one's an older one. Kalen Twins, you can tell it's an older one because the way how the word Decca is written across the top. I'd say 50s. Usually, sometimes the newer Mercury ones from the 60s would have the date here. Most people don't know this is that. Mercury, actually, no, I think it was the other way around. It was Decca. Decca bought Mercury. I can't remember when. So, Sweet William, really small, it looks like. There's no date on any of these Smash records. Never heard of them. What Am I Living For? Sweet William, so never heard of any of these. I think this will be the last one that we'll show you, but Four Lads, Ray Ellis and his orchestra. So this was right here, definitely for sure from the 50s. For some reason, these yellow Columbia labels like these are extremely rare because they were all done in the 50s and 40s. And by the time the early 60s, they had moved on to their red label, their iconic red label. So the things we did last summer and Put a Window in the Light. No, Put a Light in the Window. I read it wrong, actually read it backwards, but that's that one. And Verve Records, Superiors, MGM Records. So I guess MGM did own multiple different record labels eventually, but this one right here, usually when I go out in public, and I rarely ever see these labels, so they're like new to me almost. The exception is I see a lot of these United Artists promotional copies. I used to see a ton of them. It's so much dust, it's unbelievable. And it says George Ritchie, A Minute and a Tear. So the guy that did the Ghostbusters movie, the original one in 1984, he used to work for United Artists. I can't remember what his name is, but if I saw his name, I would recognize it. He used to work for this company. He used to work, and there's all this dust. Look at this. It's like cringeworthy almost. It's like how these people took care of their records. They should be nice to keep, though, for sure. Wildcat Records. Tell Me What's on Your Mind, Joe Clark. So I think that might be I think Joe Clark was a country artist. So this one here looks like it's in excellent shape. I don't know much more about these artists as some of them. Here's another chess one. See, 1948. Billy Stewart. I think that was Rod Stewart's father, if I remember. I can't remember, but I think that's what that is. Mercury Records, Remember When? The Platters. I saw this in there when I was there at the estate sale, and I saw this one, and I thought to myself I had to have it because it's the Platters. And if you look online, you notice that the Platters aren't even touring anymore. The last time you saw, that type of music being played. But here's the last one. I can't read that. Wonderful. I wonder if that's is it written Wonderful. Yeah, I was right. That's how you pronounce it. So Chicago. I'll have to read what it says on here. A Bit of Soul. A Handful of Sorrows. I think that's what it says. It's pretty nice, don't you think? It's excellent. Looks like somebody did take care of these. I wonder if those white specks are for something else. As always, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And goodbye for now. We'll see you in the next one. Super Satin Productions.